Hey guys, welcome to Online. My name is Addison. I am 15 years old and I am from Seattle, Washington. I started this podcast because of my passion for becoming a sports broadcaster. If you want to listen to today's most controversial topics in the sports world, you have come to the right place. On the Line will keep you informed about all the hot topics and news regarding all sports. Tune in every Sunday for a new episode. I hope you enjoyed this week's topic. Don't forget to share the podcast with all your friends and follow On the Line on Instagram at on_the_line_Addison. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of On the Line. Before we get started, I just wanted to let you guys know that Scorebook Live Washington actually ran a story on me and my podcast. So thank you so much to Scorebook Live for doing that. It's such an honor and I really appreciate it. But I will have that story linked down below, so if you want to go check it out, you guys can. This week, I got to interview Miki Vermeulen, who is a junior basketball player. She actually helped lead her team to state, and she's also in the process of talking to multiple colleges, and we talked a lot about the recruiting process and how that has been impacted by COVID. She was super fun to talk with, and I think you guys will really, really enjoy this episode. And don't forget to follow Miki on Instagram, and I'll have those linked below as well. Hey, Miki, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Were you able to survive the windstorm last night? I know it was super windy over at my house.
Yeah, barely. I guess the power went out overnight.
I seriously thought that the power was going to go out. I woke up around 12. I got to bed early, so I was definitely fast asleep.
Yeah.
And it was crazy windy, and I feel like I'm not a super light sleeper, so I usually don't wake up to wind, but the rain was hitting my window and branches were hitting my window. I was like, oh my gosh, I did not expect it to be windy.
Yeah, it was crazy. We woke up and we were supposed to have an SEL lesson this morning and all of our power was out. So we couldn't hop on that class.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
But I guess that's just what happens when everything's online.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's definitely a downside of that, but
yeah. Well, how old were you when you started playing basketball?
I've played my whole life that I can remember. I would probably say I started at around even just 2, but since I was little, I always played on a youth team, and my dad was actually my coach for a few years.
Oh, so was it your dad that kind of got you introduced to the sport?
Yeah, my dad played his whole life, and he still plays in a men's league. But yeah, so my whole life I've just kind of always been in love with basketball, and yeah, I don't know, I've always loved playing it, and since I can remember, I've played the sport. It's been fun.
Wow, so it runs in the family.
Yeah. Yeah, my little brother plays too.
Oh, that's fun. So you guys can all connect on basketball.
Yeah. During the lockdown, me and my brother and my dad would all go outside and play to get some practice in. It was fun.
Yeah, that's fun because for a long time, I'm assuming you didn't have practice and you couldn't be with your team for a while. So I'm sure it's nice to have your family there so you could continue practicing. And it's also just a fun activity to get you outside of the house.
Yeah, it was super fun. And during the summer when it was warm, it was so fun to be out there and it wasn't raining.
I bet. So usually kids try a bunch of different sports before they settle on one. So did you play any other sports before you really decided basketball is my sport and it's something I'm really passionate about?
Yeah, as a kid, actually, I played so many sports. My parents put me into soccer, basketball, gymnastics, softball, swimming, dance. I did so many things. It was crazy. But yeah, I definitely settled on basketball because I was always I was able to be myself and super aggressive in basketball. And I feel in the other sports, I would tend to hold back.
Yeah, I was the complete opposite. So that's why I never stuck with anything like basketball or soccer because I was not that competitive. So that's why I just stuck with dance. That's where I could be like myself.
Yeah, I honestly really love dance and I went back to it like 2 years ago. And it's definitely something I would do again if I had the time because I've always loved it. But I just have always been like so like passionate about basketball in a different way.
So you mentioned like in the Google form I sent out to you that you play soccer. So do you currently play soccer as well?
So I played the last year with club right before the lockdown, and I was planning on playing high school too. But with the lockdown and no high school sports happening, I'm still trying to decide if I'm going to play soccer because I don't want it to overlap with my basketball season.
As an athlete, it's important to cross train. So how has playing soccer benefited you on the court?
Well, I would definitely say my change of direction is way quicker, and I think I have like quicker feet. And I would also say that for sure my endurance has improved because of soccer, because running that long field back and forth, and I was like tended to play as a mid. So running like all the way down to defend and then all the way to attack, I started to, in basketball, get less tired and less tired the more I played soccer. So I definitely think my endurance has gotten a lot better and like quick feet with like change of direction.
Yeah, I bet. So being a lefty, what advantages or disadvantages do you have on the court? Because usually there are more people who are right-handed than left-handed. So I feel like that could bring some challenges, but also some advantages.
Yeah, for sure. I would say my advantage is definitely that most defenders force players to their left side, knowing that they're most likely right-handed.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that that opens up a lane and gives me an advantage to go to the hoop. And so that's definitely an advantage. And also when like players come to close out, a lot of times they close out like my right hand. And then like I'll end up being able to shoot with my left hand. So that's definitely nice. But I would say definitely one of the disadvantages is if teams know I'm a lefty, their coach is very strict on like, oh, lefty has a ball and like will force me right. And I feel like it stands out more when I'm left-handed that the coaches like always remember. So I know that that's definitely something that like I hear a lot from the other coaches. But besides that, I would say that I like being like left-handed, and also with drills, a lot of times we do start with our right hand and maybe only get to the right hand, but that just makes my right hand better. So I feel like it like a lot of people can't even use their left hand, and I'd say that I'm pretty efficient at using my left and my right hand.
So I never thought of it that way, but it's so true. Like the coach on your opponent's team will make the team aware that you're a lefty, so their team needs to watch out for that. But because your team practices drills mostly on the right side, you're sufficient in both your left side and the right side. So I feel like that would give you a leg up on the court.
Yeah, for sure. It's really nice. I think there's a lot of pros to being lefty, and it's also just fun being different.
I bet. So what is your greatest strength and your greatest weakness on the court, or something that you are constantly working on?
Yeah, I would say that like since I was little, I've always been like the biggest hustler and I've always had the most energy. Like you will always see me leaving it all on the court. Like I get back, I'm the first one back on D. Like I'm going in to get rebounds. I'm a huge a hustle player, and that's something that I've always just done and I enjoy doing, and it like makes basketball fun for me. And I would say that probably my weakness is a lot of times I'm a little bit too selfless. So like I'll make like a good play to pass to my teammates, and then later I'll like watch on film and see that I had an open chance that was maybe better than the pass I gave. So I definitely think that that's something I need to work on. But yeah, and then I'd say another strength I have is a lot of times, like my coaches will have me guard like their point guard or their best player, because a lot of times I'm like locked down, especially with my long arms. It's definitely like a lot of people say they're like scared when I'm on D because I just think I'm so long that like, and I'm like super like quick and I try to hustle and I go for everything. I go for every 50-50 ball. So yeah, that's definitely my strength.
But you mentioned like looking back on film and having that critical eye of being like, hey, maybe that wasn't the smartest move. Like, yeah, I was being selfless, but I should have just taken that shot because it could have had a better outcome. So talking about you like watching back, how often are you watching film?
Well, I try to watch after like every tournament. I try to watch the game where I don't think I did my best. And then also I've watched film with like my coaches and my team. And then when me and my dad, we go through to make like a highlight video, that basically is me like watching like all my games while we're making the highlight video. So yeah, I would definitely say that that's something I want to do a little bit more because I really enjoy watching film. I feel like it really helps me like be a better player in the future. But yeah, I enjoy doing it. And there's definitely times where being too selfless isn't the best though, because a lot of like college coaches, like, or not even just college coaches, just coaches in general, like, or even like players, like honestly, anybody will see like that girl who's like really flashy and has really cool finishes and goes to the hoop and is like super like aggressive and trying to score. I definitely think that that's something that I'm trying to work on and just get that confidence to go to the hoop when it's open for me and make my own opportunities.
I've only interviewed one other basketball player, so you're one of the first, but we talked a lot about basketball IQ. So how important is having basketball IQ and being smart?
I would say that like one of the biggest things with basketball IQ is like instead of like seeing that first open shot or like passing that first open pass, you find the next one that isn't expected and like they have an even better shot. Like I would definitely say that that's one of the most like basketball IQ things that's important. But I think basketball IQ is so important because even on defense, like you'll know when to get in help side if you have a strong basketball IQ. You'll know when to go for the hard 50-50 ball, and you'll know like when it makes sense, like to be over aggressive and to like maybe like stay back or, you know, or like you study your player before you play against them. Mm-hmm. Like just say definitely like making those passes that aren't expected so the defenders don't know what's coming.
So would you say to someone who is trying to build their IQ and trying to make that a stronger part of their game, would you say that studying film would definitely like aid you in helping improve your basketball IQ?
Oh, for sure. I think watching film definitely does because you can sit there and you can like even pause it and look at all the options you have and be like, okay, maybe that option the defenders kind of knew. So what did that really change about like where the team's going to the hoop or like getting an open shot? So I would definitely say looking at film helps with IQ because you can like while you're in the game be like, oh, I remember this moment. Like the defenders know that's where I want to pass. So I'm going to surprise them so they don't know what's coming, if that makes sense.
No, that makes total sense. With COVID, it affected every sport. I'm sure you're aware. So how did COVID affect basketball?
I would say like it's affected basketball so much. Like I'm trying to get recruited to a college and I'm a 2022, so I'm a junior right now. And it's definitely really hard for me because junior is the year where you're supposed to be like talking to colleges, having colleges go to your game. You're supposed to be like looking at all your options. And right now it's super hard because college coaches can't really come and watch your games live. So that's definitely been hard. And it's been hard to communicate with them because they're still recruiting even like seniors who I know that are really good. They're still recruiting them because they don't know what the future holds. Like they don't know how many players they need to recruit. If the seniors in college are staying, like there's so much that's changed because of COVID. And it's also really hard to find opportunities in tournaments to play that are safe for COVID. So I know that I've been having to travel to play. Like I can't play in Washington because there's like no tournaments. So that's definitely been like a little bit scary for me having to travel during this. But I've definitely been staying safe. And yeah, it's probably just like the hardest part of it is just the recruiting and stuff and not getting as many like gyms open and stuff.
COVID has definitely slowed down that recruitment process. And I feel like it'd be so challenging when you're a junior and senior and it's like it's coming down to the line and that's when these coaches would be going to your games. But obviously that can't be happening right now. So what tips would you give to anyone going through the recruitment process at this time who may be struggling?
I would say definitely if you're able to play in a tournament, figure out if they have like a video thing going, because I know the tournament that I was playing for, Be the Beast was hosting it and they had video footage. So I know that I could send out those links to college coaches to watch live. And that's definitely one of the biggest things. And then I would definitely say making a highlight video, even if it's just you at home or you outside dribbling or something, or just get somebody to come and defend you and just make some sort of highlight video. And then I'd send that out to colleges. I think a big thing is just making sure that the players are overly aggressive about like emailing college coaches and staying on their mind, so they like remember you when it comes time to recruit.
So you have a basketball Instagram, and I'll link that in the description as well, and you guys should definitely check it out. But how important is it to utilize things like social media to put those highlight reels out?
Yeah, I think it's a really cool way, because I went through, like, when I first started my account, and I like followed a lot of colleges that I'm interested in, and then I would like post my highlight video, and then a lot of them would see it and then follow me. So I definitely think that definitely helped me, because like now they like know my name and they like see my account when I post. And I think it's definitely just cool, because like anyone who wants to see it can, because I'm public. So I think like, and like any college that I reach out to, I link my Instagram in the email, so they like know they can go look if they want to see all my highlight videos on one site. And I just think it's definitely cool. And I like follow their pages so I can see like their updates, what they're doing and stuff like that. And then also like with like teams, like a lot of teams will like promote you on their stories, and then you can repost it and you get tagged in it. And then I just think it's cool to have a lot of people be able to see you without you having to really reach out to them. They can just see your page and see what you do.
For sure. Social media is such a great tool. It can help you for the worst too if you're not using it properly, because colleges will like look through your social media and make sure, you know, you're not doing anything crazy on there. But if you if you have the opportunity, use things like Instagram, because it's a great way for other schools to see your skills and just know who you are.
I totally agree.
You mentioned that you're talking with schools, and as someone who will never go through the recruitment process, I just want to know like what that's like. Like, are you the one reaching out to these colleges? Are they the ones reaching out to you, or is it a mix of both?
Yeah, it's definitely like not what I expected. So basically when I first started, one of my assistant coaches, he helped me because he has some connections with colleges. And he would reach out to colleges about me and send out a little description in a video. And then him and them would probably talk for like a little while, and then he'd let me know. And then I'd start communicating with them. So it's basically been like that. And then recently, since it's getting like later into my junior year, I've started reaching out to colleges on my own too. And I have had a few colleges like reach out to me about like camps and stuff. But I would say that most of it is definitely me reaching out or my assistant coach reaching out, because college coaches right now definitely don't really know about any like new like blood or whatever in like the basketball, because they can't like come to games and see you and like write down your name and be like, oh, we like her, we're going to email her. I feel like I definitely have to go after it hard. And same with the coach who helps me. I think that we both definitely have to reach out first. But then I think after that, once they know me and they watch me, they'll start reaching out to me more.
Well, the recruitment process seems super stressful. And I feel like it would be kind of nerve-wracking to reach out to these coaches, but you really just have to take that risk and take that chance, because you're going to hear no a lot. But that one team that takes that chance or says yes, like that could be super big for you. So I think that it's important for those going through the recruitment process, especially now, to just take that chance and to message coaches and just start talking and build rapport with these different schools.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with that. And yeah, it's just been super weird. But I definitely think that the players need to take a reach and reach out to them. And I think that like reaching out to college coaches is stressful, but it's also kind of fun, because you get to like make yourself look good and promote yourself, and you get to like talk to these people that like have like a place in your future possibly. So I find it actually kind of fun to do, and especially when I get like replies or people reaching out to me, I find it super fun. But yeah, it does get a little stressful, and it's definitely like you can't give up. You got to keep going until you get that yes, and you got to keep training and practicing and all that.
I'm just gonna say, if I was a person reading your email, I would find it really intriguing that there's this young high schooler who is reaching out and kind of taking that initiative. And a lot of, I feel like high schoolers aren't, they're not the biggest communicators or self-advocates. Like, I feel like that's something that's not super common. So as a person reading that email, I would be like, wow, this person is passionate about the game of basketball. I want to learn more. They are the ones reaching out.
Yeah, for sure.
If you had a chance to play in college, what is your top school?
That's so hard because when I first started playing, I was definitely like, oh yeah, like D1, because that just always sounded like such a big goal for me. But I don't know, like I would still obviously love to go to a D1 school, but I'm starting to realize that I even think that D2 would be so fun if I was able to get playing time and a good scholarship, maybe in basketball and in school, and play there and just like maybe be close to home and just like have a good time. Honestly, I think that sounds good as well. So I would say right now probably like where I'm thinking I'd want to go, and like not like my dream is probably like going to like a D1, like maybe even like Wazoo or UW or something. But right now, like where I'm like looking at that seems like really fun is either Western or Central, probably because they're close and they're D2 and their basketball programs look really good. So yeah, I think I'm definitely been looking at that. And it's kind of fun because my parents both went to Western, so that would kind of be fun. But I don't really know yet, honestly. I don't know for sure like where I want or what I'm even looking into school yet.
Well, good luck with that whole process. I'm sure it's super overwhelming. Like, I'm a sophomore, but the idea of college is still stressful. And I think once you get to high school, that's when you're kind of starting to think about it and you see all these people talking about, oh, this is what I want to do in the future. And it makes you feel like I have to know what's going to happen after high school. And I feel like being in a sport and wanting to play beyond high school, whether that's D2 or whatever it is, I feel like that adds another level of stress or just like wanting to get it all figured out.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely pretty stressful, but I think it's really important just to keep an open mind and be okay with whatever happens or like whoever reaches out to you. Like I wouldn't close any opportunities right away. That's definitely something that I've been doing, and I've been trying just to keep every option open because you never know what's going to happen. And I think I'm just trying to look at a wide variety of types of schools because I don't really know what I'm looking for yet in a college.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about what it's like to be an athlete in high school. So what is your practice schedule like?
Okay, so my like high school was practice like almost every day after school because I think it's just really important to, especially during high school when you get such a limited time to play together, to get super close with each other and just like be ready to play when it comes time. And then like for games, if there's away games, you get to the school and you take a bus with your team, which is really fun. And then you take a bus back home. And I like love high school season. I love how much basketball there is. And yeah, they're like an hour and a half practices normally. But yeah, high school season's really fun and it's like quick, but I feel like it's a lot of basketball. It's really good. And then for club, I would say club's like a lot more like it depends on like the week. So like, but if there were like a normal schedule, I'd say it's probably like 2 practices a week and then every other weekend there's probably a tournament. But yeah, that's like more just like you can play and it's like a way to play and a way to get colleges to look at you even more and like be able to reach out and they can come watch your tournaments and stuff. But yeah, that's like the schedule for that. But I think it's like a lot of fun doing it both ways. I just enjoy playing a lot of basketball.
Because club, you practice like twice a week plus the tournaments on the weekends. But on those days where you don't have practice, what are some things that you can do to help aid your performance on the court?
Yeah, I would say definitely like doing dribbling exercises and trying to get shooting in every day. If on those off days you can like do like a little dribbling, like little exercise and then maybe get some shots up, even if it's just like outside on your hoop or something. I definitely think that if you do that, like your ball handling will be better in the long run if you dribble every day. And then I would definitely say, like, if you can do weightlifting outside of practice and, like, work on, like, your running, and if you do, like, individual trainings with, like, old coaches or people who used to play basketball or something, I would definitely think those are the things that I've done that have definitely helped me.
In the weight room, what exercises do you feel are the most beneficial?
Well, I know that, like, I would say probably like working on your definitely your legs, because like that's where you come from when you're strong, when you like want to jump. So I would say like a lot of like jumping exercises, so like building your calves and your thighs. And then I would also say like working out your like back and your chest so you can like stay like a strong base and like put a shoulder into your defenders when you're driving and stuff. I would definitely say those are definitely big ones to focus on. I know that I work a lot on like legs, and then I have like one day for arms. But yeah, I definitely think that that's something, those both are really beneficial.
From 2018, which I think was your freshman year, I could be wrong. But from
Yes.
2018 to 2019, those 2 seasons for high school, team improved a lot. So what changed between those 2 seasons?
I would say that there was the expectation to get better outside of practice. So I know that like a lot of like the players and definitely the coaches like put on us that like if we wanted to be good, we had to stay responsible and stay focused on basketball during that time frame, and like and just basically stay committed. Like we had way more commitment from all the players this year. And I definitely like yeah, our commitment to the team just grew, and I just feel like we had more practices and like more opportunities to play together, and just we all got really close because of like we did like bonding too and like dinners, which I know that we've done in the past too. But I don't know, I feel like it was definitely just like the players knew that they had to be committed if we wanted to do well, and they knew that like training outside of practice was just as important.
A common theme I've heard from the multiple interviews I've done is that it's important to bond with their team outside of the sport. So to be doing things when you're free, like together as a team, to just get to know everyone on a more personal level instead of just only talking about sports, making sure that the rest of the team has a discipline to be practicing on their own and to be their own coach. And I think that that was definitely necessary when once COVID hit, like in the very beginning, when everything was shut down and you could have no practices. It's important that the rest of the team was on the same page and was doing their part and continuing to improve and not just sitting around when they're at home. And instead, still working out, still running, still practicing drills and shooting or whatever it is so that they can continue improving, so that when you guys get back as a team, it's not like your guys are going to be on totally different pages.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. And also going back to the bonding thing, I definitely think that in high school it's really hard to bond because like there's cliques and there's already made friendships and things like that. So I definitely think that bonding is really important because it's honestly hard when you're in high school. I feel like once you get to college, it gets easier because like you're with them every day and like you're either doing school or you're playing basketball. But during high school, there's so much other stuff like about like even like what grade you're in and stuff like that. And I feel like there's a lot of cliques. So definitely being able to bond is something that's really important. And then also during COVID, I would say that that definitely showed like who was really committed to basketball and who kind of just fell through the cracks when things got hard. So I definitely think that this whole entire COVID process was like a learning experience for everyone. And I think it definitely just brought out the best in players, or it caused players to stop playing because it was just too hard.
Mm-hmm. I could definitely see how it would be a challenge. Like I was dancing at the time when COVID hit, and I would have to dance in my room, which was terrible. And it was super hard, especially when you're trying to rehearse like your team dances. Like you can't just be practicing by yourself, because then when you get with your team, it's just so hard. Like the chemistry isn't there. And that's something that's really important when you're playing a team sport.
Yeah, for sure. I bet that was super hard. Yeah, and then like you and your team, you wouldn't even know like where you guys are in relation to each other.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really hard to just have to go and then like dance together and stuff. But yeah, I definitely know that that connection has to be there and you need to trust each other on the court.
Mm-hmm. So what are your preferred basketball shoes?
Oh, right now I'm wearing like hybrids. I think they're like Kyrie's, I want to say. But honestly, like I've never really been like that big of a shoe fan. But I used to love KD's and I definitely would wear those a lot. And yeah, I don't know. That's kind of hard because like I've tried a lot of different shoes, but right now I have like these hybrids that I think are really cool, but I don't like spend a lot of time looking at shoes, honestly.
That's funny. I always think of basketball players as being people who are like super specific about their shoes. And like the past basketball player I interviewed, she was like a total like Nike person. But you know, there's people who like Under Armour, people who like Adidas. Like it's really different.
Yeah, I'm definitely a Nike person. Like that's for sure. But I don't really know like the type of Nikes.
Yeah.
It really depends. Like honestly, like I don't really like have planned out what I want. I'm kind of just like looking through a lot of shoes and I pick which ones I like and I try them on and stuff. But yeah, I definitely know that like my brother and my dad are a little more specific on what they like. But I definitely just go for Nike shoes and then I trust them. Every shoe I've had I've liked. So
well, this is kind of just a random question I'm just curious about. Have you watched The Last Dance?
oh my gosh, I definitely did. Oh yeah, that was the ton of basketball games, right?
Yeah, it was on the career of Michael Jordan.
Yes. I was kind of following that with my dad and my brother. I know that I was definitely still a little bit busy at the time, but when it was on, I was watching it. It was super cool.
It was so good. I highly recommend like you watch it if you just have extra time and like really pay attention. It got super sad at parts though. I was like, wow, I was not expecting it to get this intense or like sad, but it was super interesting to see behind the scenes of what it's like to be this national phenomenon who like everyone views as the best. Oh, insane. But
yeah, it seems super interesting. I'll definitely be watching it again.
Yeah, so I just want to close with one final question, and that is, if you could choose any 4 players to make up your team, who would you choose? This can be NBA players, WNBA players, college players, anyone.
Okay, sounds good. I definitely like love the Storm, the Seattle Storm, and I've sort of met a few of them. Like I know I got my ball signed by like Jewel Lloyd, and I like have stood next to Sue Bird and stuff because like we have family connections with some of them. And so I've always like followed them, and like this last season they did really good. So I would probably say that if I had to make up a team, I'd probably have Sue Bird, Jewel Lloyd, and then definitely Breanna Stewart. And then for the 4th one, I'm just going to go with a college player. I'd probably choose Haley Van Lith because I know that she's really good now. And well, she's always been really good, but she used to live in Washington. And so I know that it's just cool because like I've seen her at tournaments at like Bellevue College and stuff. So I've like watched her play and I've always thought she was super good, and she ended up going to Louisville, and yeah, she's really good. So she'd probably be my 4th one.
It was so exciting when the Storm won.
I know, it was so cool. Yeah, me and my dad were watching. Really
especially cool. For women's sports, because to be completely honest, I feel like women's sports doesn't get enough recognition. And obviously there's a whole thing with
I agree.
Pay and all of that. Like they were not get paid enough, but they have been speaking up and trying to make changes, which has been awesome. And I'm excited to see that change in the future, hopefully soon, so that there can be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I just hate the big pay gap between NBA players and WNBA players.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think that WNBA players are so cool and so like just brave and confident for doing that. Super cool.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for joining me today. And make sure to go follow her on Instagram. I'll have all of that linked down below. But it was really great talking with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was really great talking with you too.
Of course. And good luck with your future endeavors.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone who's listening. Bye, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys. Bye.